everyone, thank you for tuning into another episode of TAYtalks. My name is Taylor, and I'm here with Elizabeth Lilly today, and we're going to talk about what it's like growing up and living with parents that have chronic illnesses. So first off, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Always. So I just want to first go into a background, like what illnesses do your parents have?
So my mother has relapsing multiple sclerosis, which is a neurological disorder. It just affects the way that different neurons transmit through your body. And my dad has type 1 diabetes, so he's an insulin-dependent diabetic. And as of 2 weeks ago, he was diagnosed with having cancer in his tonsils and on his tongue. So he's starting treatment and going through that whole process right now.
Okay, so that's a lot to hear. That's a lot to take in, a lot to deal with as a child. Do you have another sister?
Yeah, my younger sister, Rebecca.
Okay, so just you two.
She grew up with me.
So tell me, let's back it up. When did you know about your parents' illnesses growing up?
I kind of have always known about them. My mom was diagnosed with MS when I was really young, and so was my dad. So I just kind of grew up with it. Like, my dad would have to give himself shots in his stomach when he needed insulin, testing his blood sugar. Like, I always knew that my mom had to take medicine, and I always knew that she had MS, but I didn't always know what it meant. Mm-hmm. And she explained it to me as a kid, saying, you know, if you have a TV and there's wires that connect, there's a little plastic coating on the wires, so all the messages get sent the right way, and so the TV works. But she said that you have something like that in your body, and with hers, the little coating isn't there. Mm-hmm. And so messages don't get sent the right way. But as I got older, I actually understood how neurons worked, what the myelin sheath is, and then with my dad, the impact that not being able to produce insulin has on your body. And very recently, the impact that cancer has on the body.
When you were younger, did your parents ever try to hide it from you? Did they always try to make or deem themselves as essentially really healthy, normal people? Or would they, tell you straight up, like, we have some problems?
I think my parents have always been very straight up about what's going on. They've always told us what it is. I think the hard part is it's hard to tell, a 3 or 4-year-old, oh yeah, mommy's sick, but not sick in the way that, like, you need tissues and chicken noodle soup, sick in the way that, she has, like,
a chronic illness.
Yeah, a chronic illness.
Yeah.
So it's all internal, it's in her brain, it's nothing that you can see.
But that would be really difficult to explain.
Yeah, and so when you can't see it, it's hard to understand what's going on. Mm-hmm. So the older that I got and the more I understood how the body worked, it definitely made more sense as to what's going on and the way my mom acted and why. Like, one of my friends can go on vacation every other weekend and go drive a few hours to see their family, when I know that, like, my parents can't just sit in a car for that long, or we can't go on those big trips because my dad needs his insulin and really specific medication, and so does my mom, and that's not always great to travel with, but it's normal for me. Just growing up, I experienced it firsthand. Like, I didn't experience it obviously through having the disorders, but just seeing, some days my mom could get up and run around and play, and some days it was a stay inside and cuddle and watch movie day. And now that I'm older, I realize those stay inside, cuddle and watch movie days, they weren't just, like, always there to have those fun little moments. They were there because that's all we could do. It's also hard to grow up not really understanding what it all means until I'm in a middle school biology class and they explain what the pancreas does and what nerves do. And then I put 2 and 2 together and I'm like, that's hard. I remember I've had to walk out of science classes just crying because it finally made sense what was going on. But even with my parents, they say when you have your health, you have everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think a lot of people don't understand what that means until you're sick. It's like, if you get sick when you're away from home, all you want is for someone in your family to be there with you and sit with you. And I mean, I know what it's like to have that be every single day. I know what it's like to have your parents go through surgery and be in the hospital and have to be taken away in an ambulance and have crazy stuff happen. And it's something that a lot of people don't know even as adults. They don't know what it's like to watch one of their parents be in pain, or they don't know what it's like to have your dad be totally normal, and then if his blood sugar gets way too low, he's like dizzy and weird, and if it's too high, he'll just be angry. Like my dad is the sweetest, gentlest, like just most genuine person I know. And so when things aren't normal for him, he usually tries to mask them, but sometimes he can't help it, and that's when we know something's wrong.
Well, it's nice that you all know each other so well, especially your mom.
Yeah.
Did they know each other, know each other's illnesses before they got married?
The original day that my parents were supposed to get married, my dad actually had pancreatitis and almost died. It got to a point where the doctors in the hospital looked at my mom and said, all you can do is pray because we can't do anything more. It was like, say your triglyceride levels, I don't know the exact numbers, but say you're supposed to have 100. He had like 10,000. They rechecked his blood levels and all this stuff because they thought that something was broken in the machine. And my mom even said it was maybe a week, 2 weeks out. They had to go back for some sort of checkup. And there was a nurse that they saw that had helped my dad when he was in the ICU. And she looked at my mom and immediately said, oh my God, how are you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm doing great. She's like, really? It's like, are you really doing okay? And she's like, yeah, why wouldn't I? She's like, well, everything with your fiance. She's like, well, he's right here. The nurse broke down in tears because she thought my dad died. She was only his nurse on the first day and basically thought this guy isn't gonna make it through.
Oh,
so
wow.
Basically from the start, it was in sickness and in health and a lot of sickness. You can either grow from it or you can, fall apart from it. And I think the most important thing is that my family's learned to grow from all of this. So my dad has cancer, but he's not gonna fight it alone. And with my mom's MS treatment, she's gonna have her bad days, and sometimes it's a bad week. But that's okay because we all understand that it's not my mom, it's the MS, or it's not my dad, it's his blood sugar, or it's the cancer now.
And you have a lot of love in your family, so
yeah,
there's a lot of love. It's a lot of love. Really strong people. Obviously, it sounds like your parents from the start had a lot of love because it sounded like your dad basically came back from he was a miracle.
Basically,
that he came back.
It was literally a miracle.
Because then you were born, and then me. Yay! And then so obviously, it sounds like growing up you were just kind of naive to everything. Like you knew of it. But it never really affected you in a way because to you that was your normal, it's your family. You didn't know anything else. But then as you got older and found out about, the extent and the seriousness of your parents' illnesses, did you ever go through depression or like living with anxiety every day? Like, are they going to be okay? Like, are they okay at that time? Like, tell me about that a little bit.
I think that personally, I know for me and my sister, it's really, really hard to explain it to other people because it's not something that anyone else can really connect with, especially with a disease like multiple sclerosis or a disease like cancer where they affect everyone so differently. And diabetes is a pretty, someone has diabetes, you understand how their life is going to be. Some people are a lot worse than others. Some people can't drive a car because of how bad their blood sugar spikes are. My dad's never been like that, thankfully. But there's just a lot of things you learn from that. So even if I were to meet someone who grew up and had, a mom that had MS, it could be a completely different experience. So the only person I have to connect with it is my family. And I think that's the hardest part is I can't explain what it's like. Because it's really different knowing, oh, my mom has the flu, or oh, my dad needed to have surgery, so he's in the hospital, versus that being your norm. Like, it's not my mom has a flu, it's like my mom can't get out of bed today. Like, oh, is she sick? No. Oh, is she lazy? No. Like, it's just not a good day.
If I were to put myself in your shoes, I feel like I would almost feel really anxious every day just wondering how my parents are, or if, the next thing's gonna happen to, I don't know, like potentially be in the hospital again, or even die, which is you don't even want to think about. So I feel like if I was in your shoes, I would be just trying to keep myself completely occupied all the time because I just don't know how I can handle myself.
It's hard because some people, they find out something's wrong with a family member and from that point forward your entire life has changed. That's just not how it is for me because it's all I can remember. So it's not me being thrown into all these emotions, but it's more of kind of a constant uncertainty. And I feel like it's human nature to avoid uncertainty and to be afraid of something that you don't know about. And I've just kind of had to accept it. It's like I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a genie or a witch. I can't fix them. But I think it's more important that I've come to the realization that I don't need to fix my parents because they're not broken. It's just who they are. And being able to just accept, like, this is what's going on, this is my reality. It sucks, it's really hard, but I know what I can do to be there for them, and I know that they would be there for me. So I think just being able to appreciate that they're there and that they're honest with me, I don't need to worry about them hiding anything from me. And I do worry when I'm not there. I can't, be there through the whole process, and I don't know every single minute of every day, but in reality, that's how it is for everyone. I mean, accidents can happen and bad things can happen every single day, and if you focus on it, you're going to drive yourself crazy.
And yeah, I have days where I have absolute mental breakdowns and go crazy and just freak out and worry and call my parents. I'm like, I'm scared you're gonna die. They're like, what's going on with you?
We all have those bad days.
Yeah. Like when I have my bad days, I just go completely psycho, and sometimes you just need to have the bad moments to appreciate how good the good ones are.
Okay, so obviously you never know what you're going to be handed in life. You didn't ask to have two parents with chronic illnesses, but you have it and it sucks, and you're doing a phenomenal job dealing with it. You have a lot of love and support and strength in your family. That's amazing. So what are the main takeaways? What are some lessons that you want the audience to know on how to deal if they're going through something similar?
I think just being able to accept that what's going on is outside of your control. And I feel like right now I need to listen to my own advice. But if it's out of your control, then it's nothing that you can change. And if you can't change it, then why worry? There's no cure for MS, there's no cure for diabetes. Hopefully the chemotherapy and radiation treatments help my dad. But I have no idea what's going to happen. And all I can do is appreciate them now. I have good memories, but you need to focus on today. Like, what am I going to do? Who am I going to see? And just try to approach it as positively as you can. And when you have a lot of feelings that need to be let out, and then let them out. Like, there's no shame in hiding how you feel. And I was so afraid to be sad and scared for so long that that's all I ever was. And now I've accepted that it's okay to be scared, and it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to ask questions and need help. Everyone's reality is a little bit different, and you just kind of need to accept yours and take it and run with it.
So you never know what's going on in someone's life, so give someone an extra, long hug sometime, give them some extra loving, because she's a prime example of someone who's outstandingly awesome, but she's going through a tough time. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing, because this could really help someone who is going through something similar as Elizabeth is here, and really help someone in need. So please share and subscribe to TAYtalks so you see more content like this. Thank you for watching.